Hello mga ka-learners! Following our module entitled, Are You Listening? We have another lesson that talks about the importance of listening, and that is called Listening with Comprehension. This module is important in almost all aspects of life, especially in education. Nakapag-report ka na ba sa class before? Nakapakinig ka na ba ng report ng iba? Ang tanong, naintindihan mo ba yung report na napakinggan mo? A good listener finds out what the information is all about by organizing what he or she has heard. This way, mas madali mong maiintindihan ang napapakinggan mo. In the previous lesson, we studied the importance of paying close attention whenever someone is talking. In this lesson, you will learn how to organize what you hear to promote better understanding by giving the main idea of the narrative text heard, identifying specific details of reports, speeches, or lectures, and explaining the steps in a process. I'm going to read you a fable entitled The Belly and the Body. Listen to it carefully, and we will use this to know how to identify the main idea and specific details or the supporting ideas. One day, it occurred to the members of the body that they were doing all the work while the belly had all the food. So, they held a meeting and decided to strike till the belly consented to its proper share of the work. For a day or two, the hands refused to take the food. The mouth refused to receive it, and the teeth had no work to do. After a day or two, the members began to find that they themselves were in poor condition. The hands could hardly move. The mouth was parched and dry, while the legs were unable to support the rest. Thus, even the belly was doing necessary work for the body. And all must work together or the body will go to pieces. The fable was about other parts of the body getting very annoyed with the stomach. The mouth, hands, and other parts have to work hard to get food. They bring it to the stomach, which did nothing but eat the fruits of their labor. The moral of the story is that cooperation is needed for everyone to survive. The main idea of the story is how the entire body suffers because the parts are jealous of the stomach, which they thought does not contribute to their advantage. The specific details are the hands would not lift food to the mouth and the teeth could not chew anything. The main idea is the summary of the entire passage, while specific details support the main idea. In this part of the lesson, we will study how to identify specific details of reports, speeches, or lectures. Let's listen to a short farewell speech given by Abraham Lincoln, one of America's past presidents. He delivered the address as he was leaving his hometown, Springfield, Illinois, to travel to Washington, D.C. to start another chapter in his life as the 16th President of the United States of America. Let's listen carefully. Speech by Abraham Lincoln. My friends, no one, not in my situation, can appreciate my feeling of sadness at this parting. To this place and the kindness of these people, I owe everything. Here I have lived a quarter of a century and have passed from a young to an old man. Here my children have been born and one is buried. I now leave not knowing when or whether ever I may return with a task before me greater than that which rested upon Washington. Without the assistance of the divine being, whoever attended him, I cannot succeed. With that assistance, I cannot fail. Trusting in him who can go with me and remain with you and be everywhere for good, let us confidently hope that all will yet be well. To his care commending you, as I hope in your prayers, you will commend me. I bid you an affectionate farewell. Now, let's identify the specific details by answering these questions. Number 1. What is the speech about? It's a farewell speech given by Abraham Lincoln. Number 2. Based on the details in the speech, was the speaker married? We can assume that he was married since he mentioned that he had children and he appeared to be a family man. In reality, Abraham Lincoln married Mary Todd, with whom he had 4 children. Number 3. How many of his children died? 1 of his children died. Number 4. Why is he bidding goodbye to the people? He delivered this address as an unforgettable tribute to his friends and neighbors before boarding the special presidential train at the Great Western Railroad station in Springfield. In the speech, he mentioned that a great task is awaiting him in Washington. Number 5. Was the speaker religious? If you were to examine closely what he said, the speaker seemed religious because he mentioned a divine being and his faith in divine intervention. You have learned how important it is to focus and pay attention while listening. This is even more important when you hear instructions for doing something. These instructions involve a series of steps to follow and are called a process. Have you ever been asked to do something before but were not able to do it correctly because you did not hear or understand the instructions very well? In this part of the lesson, you will learn how to pay attention in order to understand instructions well. To determine the steps in a process or remember directions, it is important that you listen very closely and follow the steps being described. In a process, the order of instructions or steps must be followed in the correct order as described. You will only be able to accomplish the task if the correct order or steps are followed. This applies to hearing directional instructions when going somewhere.
Keep left.
Or watching recipe videos where the chef tells about the step-by-step process. It's time for a short quiz. Answer the following questions based on what we studied about listening with comprehension. Number 1. What do you call the summary of the entire passage? Number 2. What is the term for the additional information that supports the main topic? Number 3. What do you call the series of steps that you need to follow? And number 4, what is the key skill in understanding an oral text? You may compare your answers to the matching answer key of this lesson when you check into your online LMS account. Let's recap what this lesson is about. Number 1. The main idea of a text is a summary of the entire passage. Number 2. The specific details or supporting ideas provide additional information to support the main idea. Number 3. To capture the general or main idea, the whole passage must be heard first and analyzed. Number 4. In determining the steps of a process, it is important that you pay close attention to or even write down the directions or steps given as described in their proper order. Thanks for learning with me today, mga ka-learners. I hope that we were able to impart new knowledge sa inyo.